Thank you for tuning into the broadcast. I want to apologize ahead of time for the poor recording and sound quality on my side of the recording. I am using new equipment for the first time and am having a slight learning curve, so give me a little time. But I hope you enjoy the podcast regardless. Thanks.
Hopefully we are. Jadon Cooper, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm very blessed to have this opportunity to be able to talk about the good man above.
Yeah, and I'm so excited for this opportunity. I found you because you ended an interview strictly about motocross with one of our company podcasters, Aussie Steve, down in Australia. So that was a really good podcast. I enjoyed it.
Yes, he's awesome. I had a lot of fun talking with him. He's a very awesome guy, and he made me actually want to take the time out and go to Australia one day. So,
well, maybe we can all go together and then we can meet him. I've never met the guy. He's just a podcaster that, you know, puts out motocross through our production company. And it was really awesome to listen to your interview. So I found you, and I'm really excited about that because motocross is one of those sports where you either really believe in Jesus because you need him out there, or you're just so on the wild side you don't believe.
Yeah.
There's almost no in between.
Yeah.
So Jadon Cooper, motocross guy. You're from Texas, which is a great place to be. You've won Loretta Lynn's, the peak of amateur racing in 2023 in the 450B class. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You've now signed Husqvarna team. You signed the team Husqvarna through 2026. So you're going into some arena cross and supercross futures with that.
Yes,
so congratulations on that. Pretty exciting little resume you've got going. And something I found through my cyber stalking so I can get to know you was insider Daniel Blair. I mean, this is awesome. Daniel Blair described you as hardworking, great attitude, and trending upward.
Yes,
I say that means your career it's starting to take off. That's pretty awesome to have somebody like Daniel Blair say that.
For sure. That means a lot.
Yeah. And I'm excited because you're our first motocross rider.
Really?
Beyond the Sport would like to thank Tommy Hayes Photography for sponsoring the podcast. Check out his work at TommyHayesPhotography.com, on Facebook at Tommy Hayes Photography, or on Instagram at Tommy_Hayes_photography. To capture all your sports moments, Tommy is the person you want behind the camera. Remember to check him out. TommyHayesPhotography.com, on Facebook at Tommy Hayes Photography, or on Instagram at Tommy_Hayes_photography.
But yeah, you're my first motocross rider. So I'm really excited about that because that's a sport that we were really involved in for so many years. And I miss it, but I don't miss it. Yeah. So really great to have you here. So talk to us a little bit about motocross. When did you get started in motocross?
So I started riding a little bit when I was 7 years old because my dad, he used to race street bikes, but I was more into the dirt bike side of things. I like two wheels. I've always liked two wheels, but I got a dirt bike one day and then I rode a little bit just for fun out in like the church field or just in the backyard a little bit, nothing serious at all. And then I just rode. And whenever I turned 15, I really started taking it serious. So that was a good couple years of a gap for just having fun and just toying around on dirt bike.
Yeah.
But I turned 15. My old trainer, Andrew Pierce, he's like family to me, but he helped me take it serious. And ever since I found out I can be decent on a dirt bike, I wanted and ever since then I just kind of took off and always had my faith in God first because my parents always had me in church every single Sunday, and I really thank them for that, for building my relationship with Christ. And yeah, I've just let God continue to lead the way, and I'm very, very grateful for how I am right now and feel like I have a pretty good future ahead of me as long as I keep him first.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the many things I've talked to other young athletes about. And my passion starting my very small podcast was that people don't put Jesus first. They put their sports and their identity in their sports first. And I think you started pretty young in the sense that you're writing in the church field.
Yes, man.
I mean, I think showing that Jesus was with you really early there. So about 15, you started to take it serious and started racing different circuits, I take it, and working your way up to Loretta's and stuff, and then finally making the title, the high point on the platform there.
Yeah.
So a big, huge, and for our viewers out there, that is the top of the top of amateur racing. That you're better than everybody in the nation in that group, basically, at that moment, and you have to go through 3 grueling motos to get there. It's not just you show up. It's hot and humid, or it's raining and muddy. Yep. There's no in between.
It was both. Last year, the year that I won, it was raining, it was dry, it was muddy, it was slick, it was all types of conditions. So
yeah,
the fact
so you got to be all around motocross rider. You got to be able to ride dry and wet as well. That was one thing that got my son into Ponca, into the finals, because Ponca's a little different. You show up, but you don't make the final. And he did it on a muddy track. That's the reason he made it in, because he outrode the other riders on the muddy track to get into the final. But Loretta's, you're there. You got 3 incredibly challenging motos with 40 of the top riders in that age group, or in your case, that class, the 450B class. So congratulations on that. That's the achievement you'll have forever.
Yes, ma'am, for sure. It's always been a dream of mine to be able to accomplish that. Actually, I take that back. My dream was just to make it there, honestly, because I knew how hard it was and how serious it is just to make it there, let alone win it. So to be able to win it is definitely, that really showed me too that with God, literally anything is possible as long as you put God first and you just work as hard as you can with the ability that he has given you. Anything is possible, and you can just accomplish whatever you put your mind to, honestly. So that's what that showed.
That's awesome. And now you've signed with Husqvarna, a major motocross company. I mean, one, that takes some of the financial stress off, because most people don't understand how incredibly expensive motocross is. I mean, there isn't any sport out there these days that's not expensive, but motocross is a traveling sport. And growing up, you probably had multiple bikes in your trailer, on your trailer, however you traveled, and parts for the bikes, and training time, and gas and fuel, and a home to live in away from home, and all that stuff. So having a sponsor, that's huge to get. And now as you're racing on towards the futures and stuff in Supercross, that's exciting to be out there with some of the big names too. Yeah. And that's coming up this season, right?
Coming up real soon. That's honestly surreal as well, because I've always been to all the Supercrosses around and all the different stadiums, but to be able to actually be on the same floor as the guys that I've looked up to for who knows how long, that's just honestly surreal, and I look forward to it. I'm working my hardest so that way I can give my best presentation at each and every race I go to, and I really just look forward to it. So
learning curve, I'm sure, coming up, but I bet something you're going to be excited to embrace. Just remember the first gate drop. Don't let your nerves get you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely have to keep for sure.
Yeah. So let's move away from not totally away from motocross a little bit, and talk about what's got you there. You said what you put first, and I think that's the biggest thing in anybody's walk in life is their faith. And take us through your journey of coming to know Christ and how he is part of your life. When did you start going to church? It sounds like it was pretty young.
I started going to church, honestly, ever since I could remember. Like, since I was a baby, since I was probably couldn't even walk, I've been going to church. And I really just fell in love with it, and just seeing the miracles that God has done, like in my life and in other people's lives. I've just seen him work through all things. And I noticed whenever I try to do right by him, the more I be obedient and the more I read the Bible, just the more peace and joy and everything that he promises in the Bible that he gives back to me. So it's like a two-way street. I put my faith in him, and he will deliver me, he will guide me, and that's what I really want. And just knowing that you have God on your side with any aspect in life, it makes you feel better just overall as a person. And yeah, I just fell in love with my relationship with Jesus ever since I can remember, and I'm just trying to grow it each and every day. I never stop trying to learn about him because I just want to know more and more and get as close as I can with him.
Do you get many opportunities to share him out at the track, whether it's practice, testing, or at a race?
Yeah. So I'm always at the track, I'm always talking about God. And my main reason, I love getting on the podium. I love getting on the podium, but my main reason to get on the podium is obviously I have to thank my sponsors, but to put
Yeah.
that's my chance, to really spread the good word, because it's over the loudspeaker and stuff like that. And then every time I talk to anybody, especially in the industry, I'm always saying, God has gotten me here. If they say congratulations, I would say that wasn't me, that was all God. Different stuff like that. And even, we're not always going to have the best races. So if I have not so good of a race, I always make sure, keep my head up high and just know that God is doing it for a reason, and try to show people that everything, happens for a reason. And yeah, I also made a TikTok page, and I post a lot of just stuff about God, a lot of Bible verses, it's kind of like a Bible study. And
So you can see I'm writing it down right now.
try to spread the word everywhere, and in all my Instagram captions, and all of my anything that I post on Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, it's always has something to do with God. And I just want everybody to know that whatever good is in my life, whatever it's in my life, it just comes from God. And I want everybody to know that so they can pursue him as well.
Yeah, and that's what we're called to do, is to share it and definitely live it so they can see, so we can be a light,
Yeah.
like a light on a hill of cities for people to see and want to come to. And I think that is so important. And I like that you said it was just something you felt and knew since you were little, because a lot of people know Jesus when they're little, but they don't really grasp it.
Mm-hmm.
The whole concept of Jesus and the gospel and stuff. And to have the idea that you have felt it and known it since you were young is kind of a big deal, because I felt like, for me even, I didn't grasp it until much later in my walk.
Yeah.
And I've made it really clear in previous podcasts, I was an atheist before coming to Christ, not even agnostic. It was just pure nothingness for me. But his grace has been sufficient, has saved me. So that's amazing. And
Awesome.
even with that, coming to Christ, I didn't understand it fully. It took a long time for me to really fully understand it. So the fact that you're so young still and you understand, you're actually my son's age. So, but you understood it even younger than that and wanted to share it. I think that's amazing. And that's what you do when you get on the podium, and you've learned that there's a reason, maybe you didn't take top 3 or top 10 or, whatever, God's got something for you out of that. And it wasn't supposed to be for that timing.
Sure.
But also at the same time, you came off the track whole.
Yeah. It's stuff to be grateful for.
I've seen some of the worst things in my life. I was a believer, but on the motocross track, that just short of death, that it has been the scariest thing. And just, I'm grateful that I had Christ so that I could pray over it and fall back onto that, in the fear that comes when you see something like that, especially when it's your own kid. So I can imagine your parents spend a lot of time praying for you as well as you ride. Does your mom tell you about that? Or
my mom, actually, she's almost like cool as a cucumber. Like, she used to be kind of freak out a little bit, but ever since she's seen me develop and stuff like that, we've both had a strong walk with Christ, and she knows that everything happens for a reason. So whenever I go out there, she just leaves me in God's hands and just trusts whatever does, and just, you know, obviously she hopes and prays for the best, but
Yes.
knows that God always has a plan for everything, and she just trusts that, and I'm very glad that she's able to trust that. And like whatever God brings to me is what He brings to me, and obviously we can hope for things, but God may want something different for you. You just never know. So you just, I think my mom and dad really understand that, and that's what they've taught me to understand. So I'm glad that they understand that as well.
Brings a real good peace to both you and your parents, having that connection with Christ
Yes, ma'am.
and stuff. I'm kind of going back, but still like the fact that you like to share
Yeah.
Christ with people and, you know, give God the credit. One of the things I remember, because when we first started our motocross adventure, we lived up in Wyoming. So if you can imagine trying to motocross in Wyoming in the winter, it doesn't work. There's no tracks. They're all under snow.
Yeah.
So we did spend a lot of time traveling, and we'd come down this way and do an outdoor circuit, a winter circuit or something. And I liked the fact that at some of the tracks, there were groups, Christian groups, that would come up and pray with you. Just even at practices, they would show up just to share the gospel and
Yeah.
stuff. So I found that really comforting as somebody who prays a lot. And I've learned to listen to God at motocross when He does tell me to pray about something. So there's, you know, just, it's just such a neat thing that you can bind something that's so incredibly exhilarating and dangerous and exciting, but put faith in front of it and know that the outcome, either, you know, whatever it is, you win, you lose, you get injured, you know, it's God's will, and there's a reason. You know, you can get injured, could keep you from riding in an event that could have been even worse.
Exactly.
I do triathlons, and I missed a race I'd signed up for because I twisted my ankle pretty bad. And, you know, I'm disappointed, but I knew there was some reason I missed it. I don't know what it is, but I had a peace about it, that God was like, you're just not meant to go to this race.
Mhm.
And I mean, maybe I would have drowned. That would be my biggest thing. I'd probably drowned. So,
Yeah, so
but knowing that God's got that peace there. So
sure.
how do people respond to you at the track as you what's practice, hanging around the trailer between motos or practices or in the shop or at a race? When you bring up God, how do people respond to you in the industry?
It's awesome. It actually, it's pretty crazy. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of people, because of me and telling them about the good word and God and everything like that, they've really went into pursuit to grow in their relationship with Jesus. And I've had people at the track text me just randomly, be like, hey man, I've really started to read my Bible because of you, and I'm growing and I feel it. It's so much better. I just thank you so much for being a blessing to me. And even parents, and not even just people my age or younger, but just parents and all types of individuals at the track will just say, hey, you're like, I love your testimony. You're always putting God first. I love that. Like, I've had somebody come up to me in tears when I got off the podium and was just saying how the podium speech moved them, and they respect that so much, and they're going to start getting back in church and start really getting to know Him, because He just can see the things that God can do. So it's just amazing to see how people respond in such a great manner and are willing to sit down and learn, and seeing people start to open up their Bibles, seeing people starting to thank God on the podium more, seeing people start to put God first in all things and actually talk about Him. Like, it's really a lot of people that I feel like we've all brought each other together, and I'm glad that God is number one for a lot of people that I've told them about. And yeah, it's great. It's awesome. It touches my heart, it touches my soul with everything. And I just try to keep being a fisherman of men, and just keep going out there and try to tell the good word to as many people as I can, no matter what is going on. And really not just talk about it, but live by it. That's my thing. You know, you can talk about it, but
Well,
so
yeah. Well, people see, you know, what you say, they hear what you say, and then they see what you do
yeah,
after you leave the podium. And I think that's really important that
sure.
the two line up and match each other. And that doesn't always happen. But what's really amazing is that you're getting this opportunity and not pulling the mic away from you. They're not censoring you when you do, because I think it's important, especially for young athletes. And being from Texas, you know how big football is.
Yeah.
And I mean, motocross is nothing. I mean, football. And I love football. I love Texas football. But it gets to the point where that gets put first. And I think these, especially the younger athletes coming up, need to know that, you know, when high school ends, just like for the majority of motocrossers, you're not going to make it to Loretta's or to the pros. Everybody starts out in motocross thinking they're going to be a pro.
Yeah.
I'm going to grow up and be Ricky Carmichael and Ryan Villapoto, because those were the big names when my son went, same age as you, when he was young and racing. And we all know that doesn't happen, but these kids, so what do you have left when it's over?
Yeah. Seriously.
And if you don't have that first, when it's over, you're devastated. And so that's why I'm doing this. And what I'm finding too is even more pro athletes, you know, for a time they would be censored, but now there's a few that are starting to speak out. And I feel the more we get even the pro athletes to speak out, the kids hear this. Kids your age and younger hear this and can learn about how important it is to have that relationship and the difference it'll make, whether they make it pro, make it or not make it pro, you know, or get the dream job they hoped for or not, that they are not those things. They are a child of God. Their relationship is with their Lord and Savior and not football, baseball, motocross, all those things. In my case, running or triathlons or whatever, and putting God first. And sometimes he reminds you the hard way.
Yes.
So.
Yes, ma'am. And that's one thing I always say, because I post a lot of TikToks about just talking about God and everything like that. And one thing I always say in all of my videos is, without God, we are nothing, but with God, we have everything we need. So we can have everything external, all the dreams, all the jobs, cars, everything we want. But that emptiness feeling will never go away, and you'll always wonder why. You'll keep wanting to chase more and more. Then you get to the point where you have so much and you still don't know why you're devastated. Now just spiral, spiral, spiral. But true happiness, true joy, and true peace doesn't come from outside. It comes from within. And that's where the Holy Spirit lives, is within you. So
Yes.
that's where you need to go and unlock that, because that is what's going to take you to, for one, just peace, joy, happiness in life. And plus it can take you to where you actually want to go, because you have the peace and joy and happiness, and it gives you a lot of confidence. You start to feel confident about yourself instead of worrying about others so much. You know, all that is in the Bible, it's in scripture. And that's what I try to just preach all the time on my videos, or even when I'm at the track, is that everybody is special in their own way. Everybody's unique, and you just have to use the gift that God has given you to your fullest potential, and always just keep them first. And you don't know what can happen in your life. The biggest dreams and goals can come to pass. You just never know.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're taking advantage of this opportunity that you've been given to be able to preach God. And it sounds like one of your gifts is sharing the gospel. And I think that's huge. And more kids need to know that it's okay, even at this age, to share the gospel, because you're pretty young. And you know, I've had several high school students on my show, and they're young, and for them to be able to speak up and share the gospel is a big deal, because a lot of kids, you know, it's not cool or whatever. And it's not about being cool. It's about being saved. And it's about where you're going to spend eternity someday.
Yep.
And I'm, you know, hoping that this podcast teaches people it's so important to have that relationship and have your eternal salvation.
Yes, 100%. That means a lot. So what you just said about eternity, life is nothing but a vapor. It'll be over before you know it. So you have to accept God. And a lot of people, one thing that a lot of people have to understand, and one thing that I make myself understand and try to make everybody that I can understand, is we could be gone tomorrow. You know,
Yeah.
all these dreams, all these plans and everything, we're like, oh, we're going to wait oh, I'll get right with God in about 2 weeks. You might not even make it to see the rest of this week. Oh, I'll start reading my Bible next Tuesday. Well, if you might not make it to next Tuesday, and then if you don't make it to next Tuesday and you still haven't accepted Christ, you will not be with him in eternity. You can accept God right now. Just accept into your heart right now and live with him for right now, because all you have. The present is a gift. The future hasn't happened yet, and the past you can never go back. So you can
The
only live.
Yeah, the future's not guaranteed. Tomorrow's not a guarantee. And I think what a lot of people do also is they say, well, I need to clean myself up first. I need to get a few things in order. And like you said, you may not have tomorrow to get those in order.
Yep.
And Jesus didn't come for the people that are in order, because they're already in order. They already are right with him.
Yes, ma'am.
And once you're right with him, he fixes those things. And I think that's what so many people need to understand, because tomorrow's not guaranteed, but eternity is guaranteed one way or the other. And hopefully, the more people that hear your message and hear this podcast will understand that eternity is forever, and it may happen tomorrow, and you're going to spend it in heaven or in hell, and two totally different places. And where we want everybody to be saved and go to heaven. And I have found that through every podcast, which there's not many yet, but through every podcast, I've always had that one person who's needed to hear the story. I don't know how many people ultimately hear my podcast, but there's always one that it's for, and that person ends up getting to hear it. And I think that's probably been the biggest blessing I've had.
Yes.
So I know that your message, everybody's searching for something. You were talking about it, searching and grounding more and more, and you've got this hole in your heart, and that only Jesus can, change that, fill that, give you peace and love and comfort, and take away the stress and the fear. And I'm, hoping that people find that, and the more people you share that with, especially at the track, will come to that. Because I've seen the other side of the track too, and I feel for those people that are lost.
Yes.
They're out there living the rougher motocross lifestyle. Something that was really popular in the 90s before you were born. The lifestyle was much different back then for a lot of those people. But, they've also changed with the times. And I'm sure as they grew up and got families and stuff, their lives changed. But what if we could start it with our younger groups that are coming up through the ranks in motocross, and get them seeing it demonstrated on the podium and in the pits, and when they go home.
100%. Yeah, that's everything. And one thing to anybody who's listening, to just everybody, that if you just put God first, and what you were saying about a lot of people say they want to clean themselves up first, before they go to God, and how tomorrow's not guaranteed. In the Bible, in Scripture, it says, "Come as you are," no matter what you are like. God made you. God didn't just make you so that way you wouldn't have that relationship with him or even love yourself. God made you specially. He took his time on each individual on this. He took his time and crafted them, gave them their own ability, their own uniqueness. So anybody, no matter how you are, and that's the thing about comparison. You are your own person. You can't compare yourself to what other people have, because you're so focused on what they have, and you're not focused on the special ability that God has given you. And that's the main thing, that everybody, no matter how you are, and you feel like you need to clean yourself up, you're already clean. You are already enough. You are very special. God would have not put you on this earth if he didn't think you had a purpose. So everybody here has a purpose and has a place to go, and that's back home with God. And that's what I really want people to understand, that they are more than enough right now. They don't have to get ready. They are more than enough right now, because God put them in right now. So
Yeah. And Jesus sat down with the sinners and ate. I mean, the Pharisees even called him out on it. You're sitting down with these people, sinners and stuff. How can, if you were so holy and child, you were God's son, you wouldn't be doing that. But people need to remember or know. They need to, because they don't even know that Jesus came to save the lost, the sinners, the broken. I mean, if they were already perfect, he wouldn't have to come for them.
100%.
So we don't go to the hospital. I've used this analogy. We don't go to the hospital when we're well and perfect. We go when we're sick and broken.
Exactly.
So I think that's a big deal. Get right now before time runs out, and you can be healed on the inside in your heart. I mean, he's not going to make everything perfect. We know that. Paul still had that thorn and begged God, please take it. But if it's your will, I guess I'll keep it. And someday I'm kind of eager to find out what thorn that was, or if it was literally just a thorn in his side that he couldn't remove.
Yeah.
So, but that's amazing. So what are you hoping to be able to do both motocross and with your faith walk moving forward, going into the future?
So I would like to continue to put in the hard work that I've been putting in. And whenever I go to these races, I really want to learn. And because, it's a whole different structure from outdoors. So really learn, but I want to definitely be a contender. I definitely want to be up front. But to really just do the best that I can and just know that I've done the best that I can, prepare for the best that I can, and just really go out there and just because every time I say a prayer before I go ride or even about my day, I'll always say, God, if I'm going to ride, I'll say, God, please ride through me. I want God to ride through me. I want God to speak through me, to live through me, to walk through me. I want God to be through me. So whenever I'm riding, I want people to see God riding through me. Whenever I get on the podium, I want people to see God speaking to me, to hear God speaking through me. Whenever I'm acting or whatever I'm doing, off the bike, my actions and stuff like that, I want them to see me being obedient to the Bible, obedient to the word, and to really just build, not just my name, but as I build that, more people I feel would jump on the thing with Christ and just really use that as whenever success I have to just spread the good word even more on more platforms so more people can hear it. So I really want to do the best that I can and be up front. Definitely want to be on the podium. But as soon as I get up there, the first thing that's coming out of my mouth is I got to thank God. And that's what I want everybody to be able to hear, because it would not be possible without God. And that's really my plan. So
even your sponsors wouldn't be possible. Those are provisions he's given you. And because people are like, I got, and everybody does. It doesn't matter what's, if it's motocross or NASCAR, they're thanking their sponsors.
yes.
But those are a provision of God, and that's really great. Who is somebody on your new team with Husqvarna that you've been excited to meet?
So, okay, honestly, apparently I'm not able to say. I'm not able to say yet. We have a coming out October, I don't know, in maybe a week or two. We have the press release coming out for who's going to be my teammate. So I'm not supposed to say anything, but
you know who it is, and you're excited to have met them.
Yes,
well, obviously you would know who they are, but
photo shoot with them 2 days ago. So yeah, very excited for that. And yeah, the press release should be out, and I'll post the press release. My Instagram is Jadon Cooper 700, and I'll post it on there. But it'll be out soon.
How exciting!
Yes, I'm very grateful for sure.
Supercross. Are you doing arena cross like after Supercross Futures or while you're doing Supercross Futures?
So I'm going to do arena cross starts November 15th, and I'm going to do all the arena crosses, and then the Supercross Futures are on different weeks, a lot more than arena cross. So depending on how I'm doing in the series, hopefully I'm doing good and I just keep racing arena cross. But if I am not doing the best, I'll still do all the futures. But if I'm doing, good enough in how I expect myself to do, I will miss a few of the futures, but do all the arena cross, to stay in the series and really build.
Yeah, trying to get the points and get up to the championship. And for a lot of our viewers who don't know, it's two very different styles of riding, even though they're both indoors.
Yeah.
Arena cross is very different from
There.
supercross. You got a track for supercross even than
Yeah.
you do arena cross, and your jumps are set up different. So it's quite a different style.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and then which is different from motocross, which is outdoors and has extremely long tracks with 2-minute lap times. So 2 minutes plus. For me, it'd be, like 10-minute lap times. I'm an old lady now. They don't have that class, the old lady class. So, and as I don't know if you can see right behind me, the 401, there's a jersey. I don't know if you can see it right behind me.
I kind of see it.
Yeah, that is my son's first sponsor when we
Really?
raced. Simpson.
Awesome.
They were big in NASCAR for providing gear for NASCAR, but they tried to break into motocross for a while, and that's how long ago. That was his first sponsored set of clothing.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome. Definitely hanging up.
Yeah, so it's my little prize wall back there. But well, I pray that going forward, of course, that you'll be safe, of course. So
Thank you.
that's the first and foremost for any motorbike rider. And that's the thing. I took my son to the gates when he did. So I prepped his gates. And after I'd prep his gates, as we're sitting there chatting, the last thing I would tell him is, I love you. But I would stand behind him and pray that God, would let him have fun and that he would do well, but above all, keep him safe. So, of course, for you and all the riders out there with you, I do pray for safety for you. And I pray that you continue to have a podium to spread the gospel, because it sounds like you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you so much. I'm trying my best.
And I'm so grateful for that, because I think people need to hear it. And you've got a platform. And then when they're texting you or messaging you or coming up to you in the pits and saying something,
yes, ma'am.
that is God at work. And I hope that, you are the seed planter, the water for that harvest, that you keep doing that. And we can get people to follow you. And if people have questions, to reach out to you through your Instagram page, which is what again?
Jadon Cooper, JADON COOPER 700.
Okay. Or they can reach out to us here at L4 Media Company on Instagram or through email too. We would love to continue to share the gospel. And I look forward to watching your future.
Thank you.
This next season as you start going, and hopefully going for some supercross and some outdoor maybe next year.
Maybe. Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe some donations in your future.
That'll be awesome. That's actually a goal of mine. So that'll be awesome to take that off the box.
I know that kid, kind of.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. So
awesome. Well, thanks so much for giving me your time and for sharing how much the gospel means to you, how much Jesus means to you. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me on. This is a blessing and a great opportunity, and I appreciate everything. And I love your podcast and everything you have going on. And I look forward to continuing to watch your videos and podcasts and stuff like that. And yeah, hopefully maybe one day we can do this again. I really love it, and I look forward to it.
Oh, I would love to. Being that you're in Texas, and Texas is such a large state, but when you're at some of the local tracks, it'd be really neat to come out and get some time with you and catch up with you. And not that I'm great, but I've started sports photography kind of on the side.
Okay.
Like I said, not that I'm great, but I'm learning.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll wrap this up for you. I'm sure you've got a lot to do on this Friday night. We've got football here in this Dallas-Fort Worth area. So, but I thank you so much for taking this time again with me. And I look forward to putting your story out there, and I can't wait to see people respond to it. I hope people, especially in the motocross community, respond to it. And I've got followers here because it's my local place, and they don't know anything about motocross. So it'll be really neat. And maybe it'll get them interested, not just in faith, but motocross as well.
Awesome. Please let me know whenever you you post it so that way I can share it as well too, so that way the community can see it.
Yes, I will, and I'll tag you in it so that way you'll be able to see it go up. I'm gonna see how the audio video goes first. Whether it's gonna be video on YouTube, I try to get them all on video on YouTube, and then all other streaming platforms are audio.
Mhm.
So I get the whole thing done. Like I said, this is my first time doing it this way. I was just literally downloading this stuff last night, going, "How do I use this?" So.
Great. It was great. I had a great time, and it was great. I really enjoyed this, and thank you again.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, a blessed weekend, no less. You gonna ride?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm probably gonna ride this weekend. We'll see what happens. Or
Okay.
I'm not sure yet. I might just ride Monday. I had a real long week, so I might let my body recover a little bit. Do some other outdoor cardio. Might go mountain biking and stuff like that.
I was
But
just gonna say bike ride.
yes, ma'am. Bike ride and then hit the ground again Monday. So
Awesome. Well, good luck to you this season.
thank you so much.
Thanks. Have a great one.
You as well.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.